5-0, motion passes. If at the board's discretion, they want to entertain a motion for secondary plat at this time, I will entertain that motion.
Make a motion to approve secondary plat approval.
I get a motion to approve secondary. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Questions, comments? If not, Margaret, roll call.
Mr. Burleson?
Yes.
Ms. Cardona?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Ms. Wooland?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have a continuance of the Preserves West petitioner. Schilling Development is seeking action to rezone 134 acres lying west of the Preserves, north of 101st Avenue and east of Calumet Avenue, north of 101st. It's to rezone the property from open space to RC1 PUD. This is roughly 137 lots? It's 137 lots.
Right.
137 lots. This is a recommendation to the town council that
Correct.
this board will make. Our choices, again, are favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation to the town council.
And,
Kevin?
Mr. President, maybe, I'm sorry if you already noted it, and this is redundant, but the public hearing was closed at the last meeting, so
Correct.
this is a discussion between the petitioner and the Plan Commission only.
Yep. Kevin?
Good evening. Kevin Hunt, General Counsel for Schilling Development. Stepping in for Jack Slager, who's unavailable today. He wanted to be here but could not. So I realize I've got some big shoes to fill, literally and figuratively. So he's knowledgeable in all things Schilling Development. I'll do the best I can to answer any questions that anyone may have. Obviously, we are requesting a favorable recommendation to the town council. We'd like to rezone it from open space to RC1 PUD, just like we did at the Preserve. We did listen to a lot of the comments that we had on the initial study sessions. We made sure we have no back-to-back lots on this development. I think like Rick mentioned, it's 137 lots on 134 acres. There's almost 70 acres of open space preserved on this property. We did eliminate all 80-foot lots to address any concerns about tight building lines on this property. So we've got 60 90-foot lots and 77 100-foot lots. As we did in Preserve, we're going to look to expand the bike trails and connect it in with Preserve and Saddle Creek. And we will continue to maintain very strong covenants, same as Preserve, and have heavy architectural control, landscaping, irrigation. And like I said, we are requesting a favorable recommendation. I'll take questions or comments if you have them.
Bring it back to the board. Questions, comments? Kevin? So from my understanding, and Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, the PUD variance is approving 60 lots at 90 feet, 77 and 100. The cul-de-sacs don't meet our current standard subdivision control ordinance. Those are the only, but everything else, the size of the homes, everything else meets our current standards, correct?
Right, it's essentially lot sizes, because they're all 150 foot deep. So 90 by 150s and 100 by 150s does not comply with the R1 zoning district requirement of 20,000 square feet. But as you mentioned, this is an RC1 PUD proposal. And under that zoning district, the petitioner is not allowed to exceed the density that they could have achieved under a standard R1 zoning, and they're far under, excuse me, they're far under that, that density ratio. It's 1.4 units per acre that's allowed under R1, and they are just at 1.01 units per acre on their proposal. So it would be lot size, and then the, I don't know if it's both. I'm not certain if it's It looks like it's both cul-de-sacs are more than the 400 feet in the old ordinance. Remember that they are under the old subdivision control ordinance. The new subdivision control ordinance allows cul-de-sacs to be up to 660 linear feet, but this one's under the old, terms of the old subdivision control ordinance. So by accepting this plan, if it gets rezoned, then you are accepting those changes and variances, so to speak, from the subdivision control ordinance.
And then a sidewalk will be put on the south side of 101st, correct?
Instead of on their side, yes.
Right.
To do some better connectivity on the
Yeah.
south side. Okay. All right, I will bring it back to the board to entertain a recommendation to the town council or to provide any questions or answers to Kevin. And I think, Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, at our last meeting, if we did not receive a motion to, or any type of motion, that a no recommendation would go to the town council, correct?
Mr. President, yes, I believe that's correct. If there's no action taken at this meeting, eventually it's going to have to go to the town council.
Right, okay.
So,
Want to make a motion
Rick,
For a
this is
favorable-
Yolanda. I kind of lost you there. My connection's not the best.
What's it? What'd you say?
Yolanda,
Go
what
ahead,
did you
Bob.
need? I'm sorry, Yolanda. Yolanda, can you hear us?
It's okay. My connection's, I can hear you. My connection's terrible today. I kind of lost Rick when he was talking about the ratios. Can he go over that again?
Certainly, Yolanda. What I was saying was that any petitioner that seeks an RC1 PUD rezoning cannot exceed the density that would be achieved in a straight R1 zoning district. And that density is 1.4 lots per acre. They're proposing just over 1 lot per acre at 1.01 lots per acre. So they're well under what they could be requesting under an RC1 PUD zoning.
Thank you.
And I believe we were close to 200 lots on a R1. So giving the open space gave us the ability to reduce that significantly and hopefully make a more attractive development.
All right, if any other questions or comments, entertain a motion.
Want to make a motion for a favorable recommendation for the Preserve West.
I have a motion to make a favorable recommendation. Do I have a second? Is there any interest in anyone making a motion second on that motion? As president, can I make a second?
I'd have to consult Robert's Rules of Order. I'd
Okay,
have to consult Robert's Rules of Order, Mr. President.
okay.
I'm sorry. This is Yolanda again. I lost you guys there for about 2 minutes. Did something happen?
No, a motion to make a favorable recommendation has been made. We are waiting on a second. I've asked council if, as president, if I can make a second to that motion. And until we get a second, the motion either dies or another motion needs to be made.
I'll second the motion to move this forward.
That's Yolanda?
Yes, it's me.
Thanks, Yolanda. All right, I have a motion, a motion for a favorable recommendation. I got a second by Yolanda. Questions or comments from the board? If not, Margaret, roll call, please.
Mr. Burleson?
Yes.
Ms. Cardona?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
No.
Ms. Wooland?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes. Motion for RC1 PUD passes 4-1. Next on the agenda, this is again another continuance. This is Greystone Unit 3 petitioner. Schilling is looking to 40 acres of land on the west side of Calumet Avenue, immediately south of Greystone Unit 2, from open space to R3 PUD for the purpose of developing 144 units in a combination of single-family cottage homes and duplexes consistent with Greystone Unit 2. This is a continuance. The public hearing was open and closed. This is discussion between the petitioner and the board. Kevin, any comments, questions?
Yes, we'd be recommending that we are seeking a deferral. We'd like to allow more discussion at the next study session due to Jack Slager not being available, and he'd like to show some additional options. And we can discuss it at that time, if the board's open to that.
I will see if they will entertain a motion to defer at the petitioner's request, this rezone, if the board wants to make that motion.
I'll make a motion to defer Greystone Unit 3.
I have a motion to defer. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Donna. Margaret, questions, comments? If not, Margaret, roll call, please.
Mr. Burleson?
Yes.
Ms. Cardona?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Ms. Wooland?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes. Motion to defer passes 5-0. We will see you at the study session then?
Yes, and I do have, I think, 2 more items on the agenda.
Yep. Next on the agenda is we got a release of credit, letters of credit for the board. I do have a letter. Hopefully everyone received it, but I will read it. Public Works has verified that the public improvements have been completed and as-built record drawings have been submitted for the following projects. 1, Family Express. 2, the Gates of St. John Unit 10M. 3, the Gates of St. John Unit 6D. Item 4, it says see notes below. Ken, if you can jump in there, that has been submitted, correct?
Yes, I received.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rick, I
yes,
could ask you.
I
I'm
received
sorry.
that this afternoon, yes.
So Rick has received, did you get the as-built drawings or the 5?
No, the $5,000 to cover the cost of the,
They received the $5,000 to cover the cost of the as-built. Number 5, Greystone Unit 1, Block 2. 6, Greystone Unit 1, Block 3. 7, Greystone Unit 2, Block 1. 8, Greystone Unit 2, Block 2, the Preserves Unit 2, the Preserves Unit 3. Number 11, when you make the motion for the release of credit, would you exclude number 11? That has not been finalized, so whoever makes that motion, please approve items 1 through 10, and then, of course, 12, I shouldn't say approve. If you want to make a motion, just exclude 11, and then 12, Walden Clearing Unit 1.
and this is a recommendation to the town council to release the letters of credit per the letter that Ken wrote.
So, again, you have a letter of recommendation to the town, motion for recommendation to the town council.
I would like to make a recommendation
for the release of letters of credit to the town council for Family Express, the Gates of St. John unit,
Nancy, if you want me,
10?
why don't we just do point 1 through 10 and number 12? Would that be satisfactory? Adam?
that's fine,
Okay.
1 through 10, and number 12.
Number 12, excluding shops. So the motion is a favorable recommendation to the town council from 1 through 10 and number 12. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Bob. Questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Burleson?
Yes.
Ms. Cardona?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Ms. Wooland?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Number F, we have the Preserves Unit 4 letter of credit. The secondary plat was approved at the September meeting with the condition that signatures be withheld from the plat until all improvements were completed. Subsequently, the developer decided to put up a letter of credit so the plat could be signed. The Plan Commission needs to recommend acceptance by the Town Council of a letter of credit.
And you have a letter from Ken Kraus in your packet.
Yep.
Indicating the amount of that letter of credit and that he's satisfied with that amount.
So it would be two motions, one to accept the letter of credit, and then a second motion for the dollar amount, correct?
Second motion to recommend the council accept
Yeah.
the letter of credit.
All right, so the letter says from Ken Kraus, the town attorney, a secondary plat approval. The developer requested withholding signatures from the plat until all public improvements were completed. Instead of submitting a letter of credit or surety bond to cover the cost of the infrastructure, at this time, the developer has decided to submit a letter of credit or surety bond to cover the remaining public improvements and as-built record drawings. A letter of credit should be submitted to the town in the amount of $79,835.80 to ensure that improvements will be installed, or a surety bond or other method of ensuring the completion of the work is submitted, and it should be in the amount of $94,351.40. So if we can get
And it was a letter of credit in the amount
letter
shown
of credit,
in Ken's letter.
$79,835.80.
Correct.
Questions for Kevin? If not, can entertain a motion for a recommendation to the town council to accept.
Make a motion to, recommendation to the town council for a letter of credit for the Preserve Unit 4.
I have a motion to approve or favorable recommendation to accept a letter of credit. Do we need the amount, 79,000? Oh, that's good. We read it. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Donna. Questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Burleson?
Yes.
Ms. Cardona?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Ms. Wooland?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes. Favorable recommendation approves 5-0. Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda, item G, the public hearing announcements. We will have two public hearings at our next meeting in November. Date is 4th, thank you, November 4th. It's the Preserves at Rosewood Estates, Unit 1 primary plat, and the Continental Unit 2 to amend primary plat. Those two will be at a public hearing at our November 4th meeting. Next, we're going to go to public comment. I have three individuals that have signed in. Jeanne, am I saying that right? Jeanne DeGraw? I'm sorry. Jeannie, I'm sorry. Jeannie from 14310.
Oh, they've left.
Yeah. I
They
think
left?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. They left, yeah.
I got a Leslie Poplon. If you would come up and just state your name and address for the record.
computer.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Leslie Poplin, 9555 Julia Drive, Bramblewood Subdivision. Am I able to comment a little bit on the Preserve West? A little story, is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I'm here on behalf of myself and the concerned naturalist that I am. Almost 19 years ago, a younger woman and her dog went to check a lot in Bramblewood Subdivision. It butted up to the wetlands and had a lovely stream close by. She was very worried that this large investment in building a home might be too much. The view was spectacular, but she was warned by her builder that someday that view could be bought and built upon. She realized that she was probably taking someone else's view away from them, but knew that that was progress. She realized that this was a place for her when trekking through the scrubby brush of her prospective lot. 3 startled pheasants came bursting out of their hiding spot, scaring the hell out of her and her trusty sidekick. That was a lot for her. That woman was me many years ago, and this is the reason that we moved to St. John area from our small, postage-sized lot with our kitchen window looking straight into our neighbors. We came for the nature, we came for the landscape, we came for the view, we came for the wide open spaces. To this day, as God is my witness, each time I look out from my backyard at the space behind me and the cluster of 100-plus-year-old trees, I thank the man above for my spectacular view and this gem of a scheme in the time that I have had with it. My eyes drink it in each time, and I invite any of you to take a drive by and check out this view in another week or so when the leaves on these trees are at their peak fall color. It's truly awesome. It is these dateless, time-honored trees that I am most concerned about and why I'm here tonight. Matter of fact, my son and I just heard the first hoot of an owl from these trees last night. He must have been telling me something. Now, I don't pretend to be an arborist at all, but you can ask anyone that knows me. I do know a thing or two about nature. We know that each of the lots in the prospective preserve subdivision is required to plant 4 to 5 trees. We've been told that. That's great. However, I'd like to remind the board and everyone else listening tonight that, lost my place, everyone else listening tonight, that besides losing the air purifying, oxygen creating massive trees during this construction, these 2-inch saplings do not house nesting owls, hawks, falcons, or cranes that are indigenous to our area, nor do the saplings provide shelter for deers, coons, coyotes, and squirrels. Now, everyone here doesn't care for many of these animals, I get it, but it is the cycle of life, and they do a great job keeping your rodent population down. Everyone likes that, don't they? I just ask you to please, like the owl was telling me, he's reminding me to remind you to please keep his home in mind. I don't plan on laying this old body in front of any bulldozers, but I would like to call attention to try and keep as many trees as we can, and then, in the words that were used at the last meeting, to try and make this new subdivision, the Preserve West, a little less dense. We have told that they plan on taking about half the trees, and I sure hope the guy doing the cutting knows this. When in doubt, let it live. Now, I know money is a factor here, but we can also, couldn't we give the lots a few more feet? Space the homes out a little bit more, The ones in the original preserve on Tallgrass Trail are lovely homes, but oh boy, so tight, so tight. I would also like to say that the Schilling family holds a very special place in my heart, and that I know they can be trusted to make the best decisions for their land. I'm sure they've consulted the experts about the wells and the water, the traffic and the schools, and I entrust them to come through for our existing subdivision and our town. In closing, as hard as it is for me, others are in charge of this project, and I understand that this is more progress. I can only hope and pray that those people take the high road and really try to uphold the name, the preserve, in saving as many trees as they can, along with our wide open space and precious wetlands. Thank you for listening.
Leslie, thank you for speaking tonight. Thank you very much. Next person is Chris Lafond. Mr. Lafond? Again, name and address, please, for the record.
My name is Chris Lafond. I'm at 10236 Windsong Way in Dyer. My comment is to do with the subdivision, the preserve, not only the preserve, but the Greystone as well, and any other development in the Hanover district. As you know, you guys are approving a ton of subdivisions in that area. You guys have not considered the school district. The school district is running out of money. They're putting children in the trailers right now. They did just get a referendum. I don't understand how you guys are approving so many subdivisions and platting so many places, especially putting in duplexes, cottage homes, pairing up these tiny, tiny pieces of land. And I know you guys said, or Schilling puts a great product out there, according to Jack, and it is a nice looking product, but the problem is that it's too dense. The density is way too high for as many people that are moving in at one time. You know, you can't keep up with population, the school can't keep up with the population growth, and they have not consulted with the school district. It's just not possible. I came here 3 years ago when they came in with the Greystone before, and they said it wasn't a problem, there was plenty of room in the school district. 2 years later, they're looking for a referendum, more money. You know, everybody's about the money. It's not happening with the subdivisions, right? And the other problem that I have is our parks. Where are our parks? You guys are not plotting any lands with parks. Where are the baseball fields? You know, growing up, I went to the baseball field with my dad, played. There aren't any in St. John except for in a few spots. None of the new subdivisions are putting in baseball fields or playgrounds. You know, none of the Schilling subdivisions have a playground. Can you, I mean, I'm going to pose that out to you guys, question that. Have you seen any of them?
Mr. President, do you want me to answer
Please.
that? Yes. We can't require parkland. Maybe you know that, or I'm not sure if you do or not, but we have a park impact fee and have had in St. John for nearly 20 years. So we can't require a developer to put in parkland. The money that every lot that gets built now, because we've just renewed the park impact fee in the last year, pays about just over $1,800 into the park impact fee fund. So
Sure.
It's up to the park board, and I think town council in concert with the park board to create park space with the money that's generated from that park impact fee.
Sure,
There are
but
some
you guys-
developers. There are some developers that give parkland in addition.
They do.
Anyway, but they're not required to. We can't make them.
I understand that you're not required to, but doesn't mean that you can't make that request out there. And the density, you're going from a open space to an RC1. They have open space, no park. They got a pond. I guess that's sufficient, you know, but that's not an investment in our or in our town.
Well, in the preserve, if I could just take a moment, in the preserve is putting in a linear path, and that is a bike path that's connecting.
You're right, but how many times are you going to play baseball on that linear path?
You're not going to play baseball.
I know,
but that
right?
is
It's very cheap to put that in,
is
right?
a linear. Oh, I don't know about cheap.
Compared to a playground.
Oh, yes, much cheaper, because they don't have to equip a playground. They can make the ground available for the town to equip it. But a linear path that, in this case, may go from 101st all the way to 93rd, that's the overall plan to do. And that's not required, but and I think Mr. Pansick's the one specifically who brought that up at a previous meeting, asking the Schilling family to put that in. I think they were considering it anyway, but Paul made it a point of it. Is that correct, Paul?
Yeah, and just for clarification, there actually is a park in this development. So I don't know if you were at the last meeting we discussed this. So there's a park just across the creek that's going to be central to the whole preserves, the new and the old section, an actual park where we could equip it with playgrounds. So they provided that land. It's in the very next phase that they're beginning to develop. And then it'll just be up to our Parks Department to equip the playground. And we do have, as he stated, the fees feeding in. So it is a goal of the new town council to install parks. In fact, we have Founders Park, which has been delayed because of COVID, unfortunately, but that'll be next year. They're looking at a park in the gates because that's deficient, obviously, for sure. I mean, I agree with a lot of your points. So we're like on it, but we can't go back in time.
But there's no space. Once you develop all these spaces.
Well, there is space allocated in the preserves. I want to make you aware of that. Now, Greystone's a whole nother matter. We weren't talking about that tonight, but there is space allocated in the preserves for an actual playground park. So that's good news. And we always request it. We can't legally twist their arm, unfortunately.
Mr. Pansick, you're talking about the park space that's in the original preserve, correct?
Correct, and it's adjacent to the preserves west, because that was an important thing, that it was central to the entire unit. Yeah, so we'll be able to equip that. They did provide the space in the preserves. Greystone, I can't speak to that now. We didn't get that far.
Yep. That's all. Thanks.
Chris, I appreciate your comments. And
Thank
just
you.
for Leslie and Chris, these were recommendation. The town council is, Paul, what day is the town council? The 28th.
2 weeks.
So they will have a hearing, or you can take comments for that as well, on the 28th.
Well, it's not a public hearing.
Or it's not, but you can make comments.
You can, public comment is allowed, but it's not a public hearing, just so
Right.
we're clear about that.
No one else signed up for public comment. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Sir, your name and address, please, for the record.
Good evening, I'm Kevin Kreis, 9705 Julia Drive. Thank you again for allowing us to speak. Like my other neighbors, I'm concerned about, obviously, the forestry, open area space. It's really not just the space right behind Julia Drive. I mean, it's even further east. It's that whole wooded area that I know is set to get developed. I've looked at the proposal on their website, and Schilling's website. And from what I could tell, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that whole group of trees further east are also going to be developed.
Over here, Kevin? This group?
Yes.
Yeah. That's as part of the original preserve, I believe you're correct.
Correct.
Mhm.
So, I mean, as again, as a St. John resident, I'm sure you guys are sick and tired of hearing this, but this is kind of, it's really a depressing fact, but I understand its progress. And I understand that they have crossed their T's, dotted their I's, everything looks great. We've got wider lots, we've got deeper lots, and they're going to be nice homes. But that doesn't change the fact that the impact to existing residents. We all live here. We all live here together, right? And it's every single person that I've encountered that we've talked about this, whether it's a neighbor or a colleague, or I own a business in the area, people I've talked to that I work with, it's the amount of development is just concerning. And again, my biggest concern is the impact to existing residents here. And I understand we ran into a water issue, but what's going to happen in the winter? Are we going to run into a salt issue? We're going to run into, we have all these new streets, snow plows. How long is it going to take to plow my block now? Because now we got all these extra streets we have to plow. They're just simple things like this that come to my mind every day as we continue to develop and we keep going. And I understand it's progress, but at the same time, what's the cost to all this long term? And that's really what you know, my biggest concern is a resident here. I came here with so much positive energy, you know, 8, 9 years ago. And the more development I see, I'm just deflated. And it's not just me. I mean, there's so many of us. And I know a lot of this is inherited. This is stuff that's, look, we got a new town council. That's great. I understand this is going to the town council, but I'm just saying, going forward, you know, please take into consideration the people that live here, the people that have been here for years. Again, I'm not a long-term resident yet, but the people I've talked to, the people I've seen and I've worked with, and it's alarming. Really, and my other biggest concern is, I understand the housing market's on fire right now, and please take into consideration what happens if all of a sudden this stops. Are we gonna have zombie subdivisions? Have you been in certain areas in Illinois where they have zombie subdivisions? I mean, it's just something to consider. I can't even buy lumber right now for my house. I mean, we could keep developing subdivisions. We can't build anything because there isn't supply. But again, thank you for allowing me to speak. I appreciate it. Paul, I'll see you at the town council meeting.
I'll be there.
Kevin,
right,
thank you for your
very much.
comments, Kevin. Thank you very much. Again, I will open up if there's anyone else that would like to speak.
I'm just going to comment very briefly on the developments we do have. There's, as Rick mentioned, there is a park set for the south end of the tree grove there, and I will let everyone know that there will be conservation easements in our plan, as there are to preserve the west side of that tree grove there, to maintain that tree line. We're probably the only developer in the area that does that, and that's in our plat. So we'll continue to do that as we did in the original preserve. I think that's really all I have to say on that. And before I did forget, I know Schilling Development does want to thank Rick for all your efforts over the past couple of years to make sure we had everything done correctly and didn't delay any proceedings. We appreciate that and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Kevin.
Well, I wish I didn't have you come up to speak, because that was going to be my line. So again, if anyone from the public wants to speak, if not, unfortunately, Rick Eberly, our Director of Planning and Development, is moving on to bigger and better things. And over the last, Rick, how long have you been here?
4 years.
4 years. He has really taken the planning and development, planning and building department to a new level, Rick. You brought a lot of professionalism to it. You made our job a lot easier by providing us an insight and understanding. You never told us how to make a decision, but you at least gave us all the information we needed to make what we determined was the best decision for the town. So, Rick, you will be missed. There'll be big shoes to fill. But in my 4 years of working with you, I really appreciate the time we spent and how much more informed I became about planning and development within the town of St. John. I'm sorry I messed up this meeting so bad tonight, but I just want to say thank you. And if I could get everyone and give Rick a round of applause. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
If there's anyone from the board that I'm not putting you on the spot, but if anybody else wants to make a comment about Rick, I'd love to hear some inside stories and stuff like that,
So Rick, how long have you been in planning and building? How long have you
Well,
been
I
doing
actually
it?
started here, Bob, 31 years ago. In 1989, I started next month, 31 years ago next month. Started with St. John as the zoning administrator at the time. Was here for 3 years when Dyer recruited me to go over there as in the same position, and then filled several positions over in Dyer, with the last 5 of them being the town administrator. So 31 years altogether, and back here for 4 years after I retired from Dyer.
Well, we definitely can tell that you've been around the block, to say.
And that's just not by the hair loss.
Yeah. I had hair 31 years ago. Yeah.
Rick, I'm going to put you on the spot. Anyone else from the board? If not, see if Rick wants to say anything. If not,
I'd like to.
I'm sorry, Paul.
I'd like to mirror your comments, John. Rick, it's been a pleasure working with you the last 4 years, and I was on the Board of Zoning Appeals for, I think, 3 years prior to your arrival, and I can tell you it was a night and day difference, and it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you, and we will be lost for a while without you. There's no doubt. It's going to be difficult to fill your shoes, and don't be surprised if your phone rings once in a while just to check in to see what's happening.
You have my number. Please feel free to use it.
Yeah, and vice versa. I look forward to hopefully a different working relationship, as you will be in a neighboring town. So I can see that we can actually help out each other
And I
in
think
multiple
we
ways.
have a couple of joint projects we're going to be working on together.
Already working on some. Yep.
Yes.
But I appreciate thank you for your service, to the town the last 4 years through your employment.
Well, I appreciate that, Paul. I remember when I walked into my first BZA meeting coming back here, and I saw Paul, and I didn't yet know him by name. But back when I was with Dyer, I was part of a team that put together what we originally called Calumet Avenue Celebration Days. Became known as the Hometown Festival, but Paul was a local legend. He won the donut hole eating contest, hands down. Nobody could compete with him. But he walked in that door, and I said, "Hey, you're the guy who won all the donut hole eating at our hometown
Food
celebration."
competition, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
something I was
he
good
blew
at.
everybody away, and he doesn't. You see, Paul, he doesn't carry any weight, but he I don't know how he did it, but there were people a lot bigger than him that couldn't keep up with him. But it
Hollow
was
leg.
Fun times. Yeah.
and the reception that I got walking into my first Plan Commission meeting, seeing Ken Kraus after 25 years that I hadn't seen Ken. He was our town engineer when I was here the first time. Doug Reddick was in the audience. You folks know Doug. He's an engineer that's been around here forever. Been just such a pleasure to bring Adam back and work with Adam again. Adam and I worked together when I was in Dyer, and he was our stormwater board attorney. Just cream of the crop, and I'm so glad, Paul, that the council decided to bring Adam on early this year. It's just been really a pleasure. St. John is an outstanding community. It's funny when I think back on it. When I went from St. John to Dyer, Dyer was the more growing and progressive community, and 24 years later, St. John is passing up Dyer. I heard someone ask earlier how large St. John has gotten, but in terms of square miles, St. John is probably every bit twice the size of Dyer. But in terms of population, in the 2020 census, you'll see St. John pass Dyer for the first time. Tremendous growth, as Kevin mentioned, even in the last 9 years, but dating back to when I got here, I think we were 5,000 people, and we're going to top 20,000 in this census. Just a wonderful place for people to call home, for sure. I'll miss working with Donna. Donna's in the clerk's office, and I get to see her on a daily basis. I won't be able to do that anymore. But it's and Ken, if you're still on, I hope you are. It's just been such a pleasure reuniting with you, and appreciate all of your expertise that you bring to this town.
I still have you on speed dial, Rick.
Please do. Please continue. By the way, I certainly leave you in good hands. Craig Phillips, as some of you know, his background is as a planner. He's a member of the American Institute of Certified Planners. Very strong background in planning, very well respected in the planning field. I ran into a developer today who knows Craig from his Michigan City and Valpo days, Jeff Brandt. Remember I told you? Yeah. He can't do both of these jobs. He's going to do what he can, until somebody replaces me. But he knows what he's doing in the field of planning. So certainly leave you in his capable hands until a successor is chosen. And I think you'll appreciate Craig's expertise as well.
Excellent.
Rick, this is Yolanda. I just wanted to say I obviously haven't been part of the Planning Commission for a long time, but my experiences with you have always been very positive, and very enriching. I know you've taken the time to show me the ropes a couple of times, so I do appreciate that. And I just wanted to say, how dare Cedar Lake take you from us? So yeah, you need to tell me who did that so we can go tell them how dare you. But that's okay. Well, I just want to wish you good luck on your future endeavors, and I'm for sure you're going to bring professionalism and knowledge anywhere you go.
Thank you, Yolanda. Appreciate that.
John, can I say something?
No.
I'll just echo some of the comments I made at the previous council meeting. You know, as Rick mentioned, I have a background in planning, and I know some of the things that he has to consider when it comes to, you know, reviewing subdivisions and different development that occurs. I think that Rick has a great reputation as always being a consummate professional that takes this very seriously and, you know, very detail-oriented and conscientious. And these are going to be, as we said, these are big shoes that we're going to have to fill. So Cedar Lake's gain is definitely our loss, unfortunately, for St. John. But I just want to wish you the best in your new position, and I'm sure you will be called by us a few times as things happen. But I just want to thank you for the short time that I've known you. It's become very evident to me that, you know, it's going to be a big loss to the community not having you in this position. And myself and the town council have a big job ahead of us as far as hiring a replacement for you.
Thank you, Craig. Very much appreciated.
And I have to echo everybody's thoughts. I've been on the Plan Commission and Zoning Commission only a very short time. And as I said to you in my email, the town will miss you. We will miss you. And, you know, I worked at AT&T over in the engineering department for more years than I care to tell you about. And I have to tell you, I've never met somebody so knowledgeable and professional as you are. So I echo everybody's thoughts. It's our loss and Cedar Lake's gain. So good luck to you.
Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
All right. With that, we will sign off. I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone.
See you, Rick.
See you, Ken.